In April 1945, an art treasure valued at millions of dollars was stolen right in the midst of a fierce war in Germany. Hidden for centuries, these valuable artifacts fell into the hands of an American officer. What secrets are concealed behind this shocking event? In mid-April 1945, as the war was in its final days in Europe, an intriguing event unfolded in a small town called Quedlinburg, Germany. Amidst that chaos, the 87th Armored Field Artillery Unit of the U.S. Army entered the area and discovered a medieval art treasure hidden in a nearby quarry. This treasure not only contained historically valuable artifacts, but was also incredibly rich in cultural significance. Among these were ancient books and religious artifacts, including the Gospel of Samuhel and the Evangelistar aus St. Wyperti, dating from the 9th to the early 16th centuries. When the American troops uncovered these items, they could hardly have imagined they were holding life-changing treasures. However, the truth behind why these artifacts had been buried in such a place remained undisclosed. The people of Quedlinburg were familiar with them, as the town is renowned for its rich history and the presence of Quedlinburg Abbey, which had preserved these cultural treasures through the centuries. But as the American soldiers delved deep into the quarry in search of treasure, an unexpected turn of events occurred. Lieutenant Joe T. Meador, a young officer in the Army, decided to commit an unthinkable act in that moment. Awakening a passion for these priceless assets within himself, he meticulously hatched a plan to steal the irreplaceable artifacts. Along with his comrades, he dismantled what appeared to be invaluable to humanity, smuggling them out of war-torn Germany. Throughout June 1945, Quedlinburg's church authorities realized that 8 priceless items had vanished without a trace, igniting an investigation that would later raise many questions and suspicions. Joe T. Meador passed away in 1980, but the legacy he left behind is more controversial than ever. Between 1983 and 1988, his heirs, along with lawyer John S. Torrigian, attempted to sell the artifacts that were suspected to be stolen. One significant item, the Gospel of Samuhel, was sold to a German cultural fund for a staggering $3 million in April 1990, igniting waves of criticism and outrage from cultural and art enthusiasts. The press quickly caught wind of the story when the New York Times published an article confirming that Joe T. Meador was the thief behind the Quedlinburg treasure. These artifacts were not merely objects, they represented a vivid part of European history. In January 1991, the Quedlinburg Church decided it could no longer remain silent. They filed a civil lawsuit against Meador's heir in Whitewright, Texas, where the artifacts had been sent. This event led to a prolonged legal battle. The U.S. government intervened in 1996 and criminally prosecuted Meador's heirs and their attorney, but all efforts turned into a muddled mess as the criminal case was dismissed due to the statute of limitations. The people of Quedlinburg, one of the communities hardest hit by the aftermath of the war, had to live in a state of waiting and regret, as their precious artifacts became a name burdened with controversy. The government's appeal in 1998 could not reverse the fate of the publicly sold cultural properties. With Joe Meador's heirs reaching a tax settlement with the IRS in 2000, the $135,000 paid to the government felt like a mere temporary fix for an entire cultural legacy and a story filled with suspicion. From various perspectives, the story of the Quedlinburg treasure evokes profound reflections on how history can transform individuals and communities. Organizations like the Monuments Men have sought to recover war-era art, but perhaps no one can truly know what happened to these artifacts, as many mysteries linger behind Joe T. Meador's actions, and even today, many are still searching for answers. While the rich cultural tapestry of Europe has withstood centuries of history, the disappearance of these artifacts is just one piece of a larger puzzle about war, theft, and restitution. The Quedlinburg treasure stands as a witness to a complex historical period, still waiting for the light of justice to shine into the shadows of the past, and it remains uncertain what the ultimate fate of these precious artifacts will be, symbols of a bygone era. Joe T. Meador's dubious actions may have sealed his fate, but they also raise endless questions about the values we must continue to uphold in society. The fact that many artifacts have yet to be returned creates a palpable unease, prompting us to wonder what happens to the fragments of history that slip beyond our control or understanding.